is strategy anyway, okay? Strategy, here's how my definition works. I call it a unique mixture of mental energy verbally injected into an organization through communication, which results in behavior that achieves organizational objectives, okay? Mental energy verbally injected, results that achieve the organization's objective through communications. Jack Welch, the former chairman of General Electric for 20 years, his definition of strategy was, the movement of an idea or concept through changing circumstances. That was the idea of a Prussian general on military means, but it's interesting. But the whole concept here is mental energy, verbally injected, which results in behavior change and the achievement of goals. Whatever else you think strategy is, it's really about ideas and change. We'll talk a little bit more about this. Strategy is positive. One of the reasons why people get so excited when the boss is going to come and talk is because he or she's the only one who knows where we're going, okay? It's almost always positive. It's almost always energizing, and it's important, right? Here's the other big thing. It's about tomorrow. It's how we get to the future. The difference between a leader and a manager is this. The manager works inside the box. That's what he or she's supposed to do. The leader works always outside the box. Their job is to go over the horizon. Pick new choices, pick new goals, pick new destinations, and come back through communication and tell us where we're headed. Once that's done, the rest of the organization will know what it has to do from its part of the operation to get their part of the strategy and the destinations achieved and accomplished. No strategy in a business, you're going nowhere, okay? Strategy is really both the destination, which indicates the pathways necessary to get to the goals. If you're calling something strategy that is just a bunch of stuff to do, and it has nothing in reality to get to anything that matters, it's just stuff. And stuff is pretty widely available in public relations. That's one of the reasons we're not considered strategic. We talk about tying our activities into the business plan, but it's more important that you tie your activities to the business goals rather than the business plan. Okay? This is really an important concept to get in your mind. Strategy is it can only happen if you know where you're headed, and that comes from the top, generally speaking. And then you target everything you do first and foremost to achieve your portion of getting to those goal positions, goal places. Here's what being strategic is from your perspective, okay? Longer-term thinking. This is very hard because in most organizations we work on a quarter-to-quarter basis. We want to think longer term than that. The boss is always thinking longer than that, all right? Adaptable approaches. In other words, those are options. Always offer some options rather than just one thing to do. Broader in scope, again, than just communications. They're going to be risky. Anytime you step outside a lane of comfort like communications, it's risky. But one of your commitments is to learn more about management and leadership, as well as other things in the business that the boss cares about, right? Lateral versus logical thinking. I'm going to talk about that in a little minute when we get a chance. Counterintuitive versus spontaneous thinking. The biggest criticism of people who are strategic quite often is this. Tom's a really great guy, and I know the boss relies on him, but Tom's problem is that he's inconsistent. Whoa. Okay. Woe betide an inconsistent person. But I tell you what, inconsistency is the greatest virtue in strategy. Strategy is about looking at everything differently, intentionally, all the time. That's why it says inconsistent versus culture-bound thinking. The boss wants strategists around to help him or her think differently about where you're going, what you want to do, what you've decided, what you've already done. Most breakthroughs, products, ideas, concepts, culture change come because somebody thought of something really unusual to do to change something that we just did very normally all the time. Okay, Being different on purpose, the last line there, being different on purpose is really important. It does get tiresome to everybody but the boss. And the reason is the goal of an organization is to run smoothly. In other words, to do everything tomorrow the way we did it today once we figured it out. Okay? That's not progress. That's the end of your organization. So, this concept of being different on purpose is really a central concept. And what's interesting about this is that if you want to teach the boss something really powerful and really important, it's to look at some of the things that he or she does and the company organization does from this different perspective. How do we enhance what we do? How do we have more influence in the direction we want to go? Using our brains to really the thing we provide most, this extemporaneous, this ability we have to just create things from nothing. It drives people crazy, actually, because the businesses and management is built on data and facts and history and all that sort of stuff. And then we come along, and here we are, these spontaneous thinkers who ask me a question, I'll give you 5 answers in 15 seconds. And their problem is they may like what you say, but they kind of say, well, it's pretty smart, but where's the proof? How do you know what's going to work? Okay. Understand again the difference between what we're doing, what you want to do, and how the business operates. Leadership versus management. We've talked about that. Over the horizon versus work on the plan. Staff versus operations. We are always staff people. We are always on the cost side of the ledger, no matter how imperiously we talk about these things. We are there. One second. You can't hear that, but it's someone's ringing in my ears. Staff versus operations. We have to respect operations because we're going to give them advice in different changes. Strategy versus stuff. Most of what we do, the 12 tricks we have in public relations, a good supervisor learns in the first 2 weeks of working with us. Strategy is beyond the stuff that we do. Optimism versus pragmatism is simply the most optimistic people in the business are its leadership. And one of the things we do in the conversations with these people is to get them back down to what's doable, what's knowable, what's achievable, what's gettable, right? We think about management thinking style. We understand how these people work. And most importantly, among the most important things is we understand the difference between yesterday and tomorrow. People who lead are people of tomorrow. I mean, that's why when you talk about what happened in, the factory in Poughkeepsie yesterday morning, they're getting out their smartphone and checking their email while you're talking. These people are always about tomorrow. You have to ask yourself every day, am I a person of tomorrow or a person of yesterday? Because the person you're working for, the higher they are in operations, they're people of tomorrow. It's about getting it done.